Hi, I'm gonna show you this game controller add-on I made for my Android phone. It's an HTC Droid Incredible from Verizon, and you can see right here is what I did. This is like a rubber controller buttons and direction pad that I added to the touch screen, and what it does is it adds more of a tactile feel. If you tried to play some of the emulator games on Android with the touch screen controllers, it's really hard because you can't feel where the buttons are, but with this you can actually feel them with your finger. You don't have to look as much. What this stuff is Sugru. You can order it on the web, Sugru. It's like a moldable clay, and you put it on, it dries overnight. I just used like a flat edge to make these shapes and cut in the arrows and the letters on the buttons, and I can kind of show you here what this does. I'll show you Mario Brothers first. So really the rubber's not like moving, but it really helps add a tactile feel to the game controller. It gives a little bit, you know, not very much. You're really just activating the touch screen underneath. One of the things when you're putting on the Sugru is you want to make sure it's thin enough that the touch screen can pick up your touch through the rubber, and you can actually test it out while you're molding it onto the screen. I have a screen protector on. It's just like a cheap one, and so I thought that would be a good idea before I put the rubber on there. I'm actually going to try later. I haven't tried yet. The rubber does adhere to the surface, but you can peel it off without leaving a residue, supposedly. So I think what I'm going to try and do is, because these obviously obscure the screen for you know, if you're trying to read things or do other things, so like I'm gonna try and peel them off and see if I can re-adhere them, maybe with rubber cement, something like that. Okay, let's see. So I'll just show you real fast in case you don't know. In the market, you can get the ROM Gripper app, and it's free, and I think there's some other ones. I don't know, this is the one I use. It's a pretty good way to download just about any game you want. There's emulators available for lots of different systems: Nintendo, Genesis, Atari, Game Boy. Most of them have a free version that doesn't let you save games but is fully functional. Okay, let's see. Then I just wanted to show, I thought this might be helpful to show some of the settings that I figured out to use with these game controllers on the screen. Inside the Nintendo emulator, if you go to settings, first of all, the audio video settings, I figured out that if you set the scaling mode to 2 times, it squashes the screen down a little bit, so when you're playing with these controllers on the screen, it's like a TV screen, it's not widescreen, so they don't cover up the screen quite as much. So let's see, another setting that I found, if you go to the input settings, virtual key settings, I found it helpful to turn on the in-between press and the point size by point size, and then I set the threshold to 5. And you would probably want to mess with all these settings to see if there's something that works better for you, but I think those were the ones that I found that work the best. Also in here you can set the control size, and I set that to small so that these controllers would take up as little of the screen as possible. And then the margin also I set to 0, and that squeezes them off towards the side as far as they can go. There's also a option for key mappings that I found, and I think this would really help. I went ahead and mapped the A button to the search key here, the little magnifying glass key, and the B button to the back key. So that would let you take these buttons off of the screen and put them off to the side. When I remove these pieces of rubber from the screen and try and reattach them, I'll probably put them there and see if that works. My test for these input settings was really the game Contra, because it's one that's important to be able to do diagonal directions, because you're like shooting in diagonals constantly. And so that's what I used to test out, setting up these settings, and it works pretty well now. It's not perfect. I'm sure using like one of the Bluetooth controllers that are available might work better. I may try one of those, but this is like at least a way that you don't have to carry around a game controller in your pocket if you wanted to be able to play games on the road or whatever. So anyway, I think that's it. I also just wanted to say, you might have noticed these black rubber bumpers that I added to the corners of my phone. I got this idea from another video I saw, and it's a way that you can protect it from falls. And it's worked pretty well for me. One thing that I realized that I needed to do, I don't know about other phones, but at least on the Droid Incredible, in order to get the battery or the memory card out, you have to actually pop the case open, and it comes in half. So when I was putting these pieces of Sugru around the corners, I realized that I wouldn't be able to get into it, the phone, otherwise. So I just took a knife and I made a slit along the halfway line of the phone in each of the pieces of Sugru, so they're actually separate. And when I first got that on and I waited overnight for it to dry, a couple of them fell off when I was sort of using the phone, and I thought, oh, this isn't going to work too well, but I stuck it back on, and I pressed them back on, and I think they're stuck like really well now. So when you make it thick like this, I think you probably have to wait, maybe more than overnight for it to, I think the instructions say 24 hours, probably. But anyway, that seemed to help. And I actually have dropped the phone since I put this on, and I dropped it pretty hard. It was on the pavement, and I think the bumpers probably helped. The phone actually split apart because they weren't holding the phone together, and the battery flew out. But I think it protected it pretty well. So it's probably worth doing. Okay, that's it. Thanks.